Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Tiara and I am the owner of Black Teacup. In this week's video, I will be showing you guys how I created this mason jar breast cancer awareness tumbler. On this tumbler, I did a combination of power wash and also using different mica powders. Everything that I used to create it will be linked down below. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. Also, I wanted to point out that next week's video will be a review of these mica powders from Pro Marine. So if you're interested in these, just stay tuned. I will be uploading the video Wednesday. And as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we are starting out with a 16-ounce mason tumbler, which I got from Last Stop Will Be. I will have that link down below. I'm going to start out by sanding this tumbler using my palm sander all the way around. Of course, you could always use a block sander as well. When you are done sanding, you want to go ahead and wipe it down with some alcohol to remove any of the residue that's left behind. So here I'm just going to take some painter's tape and tape off the rim of my tumbler because you don't want to get spray paint on that part. And once that's done, I'm just going to spray paint my tumbler the base color pink. So you will see me putting like burst of gold spray paint on top of the pink, but I end up just not going with that idea, and the tumbler is just going to be pink. So here I just took some mica powder out of this variety pack that I purchased on Amazon. It's called like a rose red. I'm going to attach a picture here. And I just mix a little bit into my epoxy right here. And I'm just going to go over my cup, the pink spray paint. This will give it more of like a pearl effect instead of just a flat pink. And you'll just want to spread this epoxy with the mica powder evenly all the way around the tumbler. And of course, you'll go in with your torch to pop any bubbles. And then after about 20 minutes or so, I'll take off that painter's tape. Don't forget to take off the painter's tape. So I'll let my cup spin and cure overnight before moving on to the next step. So it's the next day, and I decided I wanted to add a little bit more glitter to my cup, more than what I already have. I already did a base line around the top of the cup, you can see here, but I'm going to cascade that or ombre that glitter down more. So I'm just taking a gloved finger and I'm just spreading all this area because I know I want glitter right here, but as I get down, I'm just going to spread lightly so the epoxy goes in a ombre like effect. It's not like a straight line. Once you have that very thin layer of epoxy, what I'm going to do is hold my cup at an angle and just use this glitter out of the shaker and sprinkle the glitter on. Tap, 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 like always. This glitter is from Peachy Olive Glitter. I forget the name of it. I think it's Wednesday. No, I think this is Bailey. It's Bailey. I will have that link down below, though. It's a beautiful hot pink glitter. So as you see, I'm not just pouring the glitter on my cup. I am still tapping it in a controlled manner so that it cascades down the way I want it to go. I don't want a harsh line of glitter. And after I'm done with the glitter, I use a gloved finger to remove any pieces or any glitter that's not in the right spot. So after that dried for about 2 or 3 hours, I'm going to go ahead and apply my first layer of epoxy on top of this raw glitter. I did go back and tape off the lid of my cup using electrical tape, as you can see at the top of like the mouth of the cup. Make sure you put some type of tape or barrier up there because you don't want to get epoxy up there. So I went in with my torch and I let this first layer dry overnight, and the next morning I did go in with a second coat to smooth things out because it was still a little bumpy because this is a chunky glitter. So after that second coat, I just let that cure for a day or so. And now I'm going to move on to my lid. This is my first time doing a mason jar lid. I haven't really seen many do it, but it was worth the shot. So I'm going to take my sanding block and I just sand it all the way around to scuff up the surface of the lid. And then just like with my tumbler, I'm going to go ahead and take some paper towel and some alcohol and wipe it down to remove any debris. Now, so to hold the lid while I'm spray painting, I have this dowel stick and I have some painter's tape to make it a little thicker so it doesn't go up and down throughout the straw. It kind of stops it. And that's what's going to hold my lid. So here I'm using the same pink spray paint that I used to spray paint my tumbler in the beginning, and I'm just going to spray paint all the way around that lid. And I kind of spray painted at a downward angle, that way I didn't get spray paint on the inside of my lid. But you can get it off with acetone or alcohol, but try to avoid that. Okay, so next I'm going to glitter the lid using the epoxy method. I'm just going to take a gloved fingertip full of epoxy and spread it all the way around the lid, and you want to avoid the inside portion of the lid. So once I had the epoxy all the way around, I went ahead and just poured my glitter all on the top, and I took a piece of parchment paper and pressed down any pieces that were sticking up. So for this design, I printed this WaterSlide that I found on Etsy. I printed it using my inkjet printer and using clear WaterSlide paper. I am going to seal my WaterSlide using Rust-Oleum Gloss Clear. I did about 3 layers of this, 3 light layers. You want it to dry in between each coat. And then I also went back in with some Plasti Dip. Here's the can. And did 1 layer of that and let that dry as well. When I do my water slides like this, I usually never have any problems with ripping or tearing. Alright, so I am going to use the power wash method for this decal, and I'm going to use white spray paint. So I'm just going to take this playing card because it's about the same size as my decal, and that's the area that I want to spray paint white. I tried a few different methods and I couldn't get it right. I'll put those fails at the end of this video, but this seemed to work for me. So I took the card up and then I spray painted around where that area was, and then I immediately rinsed it off, and this is how it looks. After my paint has dried and my water slide has dried, I'm going to take them in and apply it. So I just have a bowl of water here, and I'm just going to put my water slide in the water for about a minute until it starts to lift from the backing. After it's ready, you just want to wet the surface of your area, work area, and then just slide the water slide onto the cup. Then you'll use your silicone brush to brush out any air bubbles and make sure the water slide is nice and flat. So I believe because of the Plasti Dip, it makes my water slide more durable and pliable. So I was able to lift it and move it a few times before I got it exactly where I wanted it to be with no issues as far as tearing. I did put a few slits on the edges just to make sure it lays down completely flat. I had some areas that wouldn't lay down, so I just used my X-Acto knife to slit the edge of the water slide. Then I let my water slide sit and dry for a couple of hours before I moved on to sealing the water slide with epoxy. So I sealed my water slide using the epoxy method the same way I do my glitter. So I'm just taking a gloved finger once again and just rubbing it across my decals, focusing on the edges, just to make sure that when I do put my full layer of epoxy on, nothing peels up. I let that dry for about 4 hours, and then I went in with another layer of epoxy. Let that cure, and then I'm back on my lid. So I'm going to add my first layer of epoxy to my lid. I have that dowel attached to my turner arm using electrical tape. And I did put Vaseline on that dowel rod so that my lid does not get stuck to it with the epoxy. So I just took a gloved finger and I just rubbed a little bit of Vaseline around that dowel rod. and then put the lid on it. So I'm going to take some epoxy here, and I'm just going to spread it all the way around as you would a regular cup. You're going to get the front as well. It's like the bottom of your tumbler, but it's actually the top of the lid. So treat it the same way. So after the lid has cured overnight or for a day or so, I'm going to take it out for sanding to smooth it out, because I don't want to do too many layers of epoxy. So I'm going to go ahead and sand it and hopefully do my final layer. Here I'm taking my rotary sander and going around the straw part. It was a little raised, so I want to just sand that down until it's smooth. And then I'm also going to take a block sander and go all the way around. So here is what I was mentioning earlier. I took a little Vaseline and I just kind of lubricated my wooden dowel, because you don't want your lid to get stuck to it. I know many of us have had pins when we used to do the pins, and they'll get stuck to the wooden dowel. So I also put Vaseline on the wooden dowels for those. I haven't had any issues with anything getting stuck to the wood. So here I'm taking a Q-tip and I stuck it in the Vaseline, and I'm going to go in the straw hole just for extra reassurance to make sure that it doesn't get stuck to the wooden dowel. Don't forget to add a section of tape to hold your top in place so it doesn't slide up and down. And then you can add some Vaseline to that piece as well. So that's pretty much it, y'all. I added my final layer of epoxy, went back through it my torch, and I did the same thing with my lid. Added that final layer of epoxy and just made sure that there wasn't any epoxy pooling anywhere. Here is the final cup. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I love the way this tumbler turned out, and I actually made a shirt to go with it. So here are the two of them together. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you're notified every time we post a new video, which will be every Wednesday. And one more thing, don't forget to join us over on Facebook. Our group is the Black Teacup Community. We'd love to have you there. So mistake number 1, I tried to visualize where I wanted my white spray paint by holding the WaterSlide up, and I wanted to spray around that area because I want that area to be white. But the spray paint went inside of that square, which caused it to still be pink in some areas, and I wanted it to be more solid white in the middle so that you could see the WaterSlide. So I tried to spray paint that middle section with just some more white spray paint, and yeah, that didn't work. So I had to grab my acetone to wipe all of that off. Okay, so the second time I decided to get a card and tape 2 cards together that was the size of my WaterSlide, and then just tape it to the cup, and then just spray around it, and then remove the card and then spray. And for whatever reason, that did not work. So the last time it worked when I put the card at an angle, which I showed earlier in this video. All right, thanks for watching.